So, it's time to talk about HBO Max. So, there's been a lot of launches of streaming services as the streaming wars have begun, as someone would make a meme of Yoda saying. And HBO Max is potentially the worst launch I've ever seen for a streaming service since there have been streaming services. It was bad. They didn't do a good job. First off, I went to their site Monday thinking I could figure out, hey, I'm an AT&T customer. I pay for HBO. Do I get this for free? Could not figure that out by going to their site, which should have been a sign. Then I didn't really know if I would get it for free until that night of launch. The night of launch. And I had already heard it wasn't available for Roku, which no one knew until the day of launch because we all assumed they wouldn't be that fucking stupid. True story. And on Amazon Fire Stick, which are two of the... I think it's like... I read somewhere like 40 to 50% of people who watch streaming services cannot access HBO Max on a TV. Good for you guys. So basically, you can watch it on your computer, you can watch it on a smartphone, any tablet, things like that. That's fine. I installed it on a couple devices we have around the place, but it is not on our Roku. And so I think if you, I'm sure you don't remember this, but when Disney Plus came out, I tweeted like, "Hey, this is my family's experience with Disney Plus. First night, my wife and daughter watched Cinderella while I cooked dinner. I couldn't get The Mandalorian to load. We watched a Mickey Mouse short, and I said how I watched things. You know what I mean? On my TV. We were all excited. When HBO Max launched, we kind of assumed we would be doing that, but we didn't because it wasn't there for us, basically. So I installed it on there. I didn't really start watching it until Friday, and when I tried to watch a movie, which is Ponyo, I noticed on the thing it plays not like... So if you go to Amazon Prime or Netflix and you watch it through a browser, it basically fills up the entire browser. You know what I mean? You hit play, fills up the entire browser. Basic shit. Well, HBO Max didn't do that. It plays like a YouTube video. And it's playing all small, and it's like, I have an option to make it do that. But I was like, why would I want to watch? There's like no comments here. There's no thumbs up. It's like, it was awful. So, it was just bad how they launched. I mean, I know they made a last-minute deal with Xfinity. They made a last-minute deal to get all 8 Harry Potter movies. There are a lot of movies that people said were going to be on there that were supposed to be that weren't. Mask of the Phantasm isn't on there. Steel is. Good for you guys. But it just didn't launch effectively. I don't think they did a very good job. I was honestly really disappointed by HBO Max. And I think most movie press people I follow and listen to podcasts and all this stuff actually commented that they really thought that this would be a great streaming service until they actually went on it and heard how they fumbled it up. So it's kind of interesting that everyone was doubting Disney Plus and all these things, and then suddenly HBO Max was like, there's no way they'll screw that up. And they did. They did really badly. But I will say this. I love the Looney Tunes shorts. I think those are great. I'm glad they made those. The one thing I don't like about the press with HBO Max is everyone is bringing up how they don't have any originals at launch and sort of ignoring the Looney Tunes shorts, which is fucking bullshit as far as I'm concerned, because those are great. As well as the Elmo Not So Late Show, which Sophie didn't really get into, but she'll watch the Looney Tunes with me. They have a lot of classic Looney Tunes. They have selections from Crunchyroll to Turner Classic Movies to Looney Tunes to DC, Sesame Street. They have a lot of great various sections on there, which I thought they did a very good job with. I did like the Turner Classic Movies section. I like the Ghibli section is good. It's basically just a list of the Ghibli movies because you can't really curate. It's just like, here's the Ghibli movies. But the other ones, they curate them pretty well. If you look, it's just like they have playlists. Like on Turner Classic Movies, they had a Charlie Chaplin section, which was great. I didn't see any of those selection recommendations by celebrities and notable people thing that they mentioned before they launched. But they do have a section where it's like the things they curate, and then they have on each of those sections, they have a thing called A to Z. So you can see like A to Z, from A to Z, that's how alphabetization works, what they have on those individual things from HBO to so forth. That I actually thought was very nice, because I think with Disney Plus, I'm often confused what's even on that fucking service. I don't like how it's organized. I want a Roku app. because then I'll really watch it. But it's like we're only going to watch it to watch Looney Tunes and Close Enough right now. And I have it for free with cable, so it's sort of like just this free streaming service I'm never going to use until it's on Roku, and that seems to be a lot of people actually. So I'm going to give you some recommendations on HBO Max as well as doing a review on it, because I think there is some cool stuff on there. Obviously, there's cool stuff on there. They have a crazy library, so let's get into it. So, what do they have on there that you should watch? First off, they have Contagion, which you used to have to rent through various streaming services. This is the first time it's been on a streaming service where it's free. You're not buying it on demand or something like that. It's been surging up the iTunes charts because there's also a pandemic thing, as well as all the civil unrest. There's still that pandemic thing going on. So if you've wanted to watch Contagion and you have HBO Max, you can, and you don't have to pay for it. As well as they have, everyone wants me to say The Judge. Fine, they have The fucking Judge. Don't watch it. It's awful. Don't watch it. I know it's funny that I hate The Judge, but it's awful. Anyway, other movies out here is The Player, Robert Altman's classic, which was on the movie review vote for a very long time. Rio Bravo, which is literally one of the greatest westerns of all time and is a lot of fun. It's a great movie. Quentin Tarantino considers it one of the best movies of all time. I know he plays it for people. It's like a friendship test. So if you want to know if you could be friends with Quentin Tarantino and you can't sit through Rio Bravo, guess what, son? It ain't happening. The Charlie Chaplin section they have on... The Turner Classic Movie section is, by the way, fucking great. And most streaming services do not invest in classic films, and they did. And I give them credit for that. HBO Max, I will give you credit for that. The Chaplin section is wonderful. The Studio Ghibli section is great. The Looney Tunes section is great. Obviously, check out those. I don't think you want to watch me recommend stuff you already know you're going to be recommended, but if you needed that for whatever your life is, I just did it. They also have Rock and Roll High School, the Ramones classic. It's a great movie. If you like the Ramones, and you like punk rock, or you like cult movies, you should see Rock and Roll High School. That is a must-see. They do actually have Steel in the DC section, and it wasn't hidden either, which shows me they do not have enough options. I know they didn't have the Christopher Reeve Superman, I believe, but they do have Steel with Shaquille O'Neal, which, believe it or not, I saw in a preview before it came out, and I haven't seen since. I should do that. They also have Flapjack. I love Flapjack. That's a good show. The Marvelous Misadventures of Flapjack, is it called? I love that show. I know some people find it gross and weird. I love that show. It was basically the forefather, the Mighty Mouse, The New Adventures of its time, basically, which I will talk about later, actually, with Bring Me the Head of Charlie Brown. But Flapjack, you should check that out if you never have. I think it's the first time we really can do that. Regular Show and the Regular Show movie are on there. Obviously, I love those. I did a video essay on Regular Show, which I'm still very proud of. And if you want to catch up on that before Close Enough, please do it. Regular Show is a great show. The 400 Blows, which is, I think, one of the greatest. It's one of my favorite films of all time. It's one of the greatest films of all time. It's one of the best coming-of-age stories of all time. And it's the best French New Wave movie. I don't give a shit what your opinion is. It is. It's wonderful. See 400 Blows. They also have Primal. If you wanted to check out Primal for the longest time and haven't been able to, this is the best place to do it. And finally, they do have the first book of Infinity Train. To my understanding, the next book of Infinity Train will happen later. I know it's on Hulu, Infinity Train, but or is Primal on Hulu too? Probably is. Whatever. Those are my recommendations for HBO Max thus far. They do have a lot of great stuff. I could recommend, hey, Harry Potter movies are a thing there, but I'm sure you've seen them. However, HBO Max does actually still have a good selection. I just did not like how they launched because it's not on my Roku. I know a lot of people are just saying they're not really going to get into it until they have that option. I don't know when HBO Max will fix that. The other thing about this that I should add is that HBO Max didn't admit the Roku thing, but Roku CEO admitted it later. So Roku handled the customer service snafu with this whole thing, not HBO Max, on their own service, and apologized and said we'd like to work with them and figure out a licensing deal, basically. But they came out on the day of the HBO Max launch. That's embarrassing. But anyway, I do think they have a lot of great classic films. If you want to get into film and you have access to it already, it's a great service, much like Turner Classic Movies is. And I think, it does have a lot of good options. I just wish they'd organized it better. And I think they have a lot of potential, but I'd like to see them meet that potential. And I think they could be a good service if they launched effectively for everyone to actually watch, and maybe have organized it a little better, and maybe redo the site a little bit. I think it's not the greatest.